Batgirl number 10, Hope Larson writing and Chris Wildgoose on art. Uh, I quite like this issue. This for me was the arc finally kind of coming together, and I could see
Hmm.
what it was and where it's
Yeah.
going and what the what type of Penguin's son. What's he actually going to be like? What's his kind of goal? Uh, and the idea that he's this tech villain, I mean, we've already obviously had this hinted at with the apps and stuff, but the fact that in this
Yeah.
he uses it to stir up trouble to his benefit, and
Yep.
going so far as to pull a Charlize Theron from Fast and Furious 8 and
That's
controlling a car.
that is exact. I'm reading this going weird coincidence
Yeah.
that these come out so close to each other. And I like though that too we finally see his colors, because up to this point it's kind of like, is there something more sinister going on? And he's just but no, we get when Dick shows up and him and Barbara go for their ride. Which how cool is Dick Grayson in this? He's just
That's great.
that dude
I mean,
shows
again,
up on a
this is
motorcycle.
another time where people are adding too many words onto sentences. It's just, how cool is Dick Grayson?
Yeah, true. Shows
Ju-
up on a motorcycle. They go to a diner.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
obviously, I loved even when she just texts him, and I loved
Yeah.
the panels there. She texts him, and you see and then the art's really good here because the glow of the phone's on her face, and she's sort of frowning. She's kind of pissed. We'll get to why she's pissed in a second. Matt's jumped ahead because he mentioned Dick because he couldn't wait to get to
Well,
Dick. He's so
I
desperate for
can't.
Dick. He has to just
I
bring it
love Dick.
up.
Someone can edit around that, don't worry.
Yeah, they can. So I did it.
But yeah, but it's the smile that appears on her face as he responds, because you see the little text messages as the extra captions, and they're formatted differently, so you can tell they're text messages instead of narration or whatever else. And it comes out just the smile that appears on her face when he responds, and it's like they're still close. It doesn't matter that they've both been dating someone else or whatever. They're still
Yep.
that there, which is great.
Small thing, I love that how his messages have the little blue around them, and hers
Yep.
are the purple.
Oh yeah, that's just narration coloring 101.
It is, but because in this book we don't, because it's always thought bubbles,
Yeah,
and we
true.
don't see many narration boxes. There's no color scheme for that we've had established, so it's just nice to see it in this.
Do you know what I love? I loved it. So we ended the last issue with her sneaking in to snoop about Penguin's son's place, and Penguin was there because he's there looking for him for reasons that we find out in this issue. I love that they just walk over to the ping pong and just start playing a game. Just start
As
playing
you
table
do.
tennis for
What was it?
little reason. In fact, one of my favourite funny panels is the ping pong flying by Barbara's head, and she's just like, "Oh Jesus Christ, that was a hard hit."
Yeah.
Uh,
good
s-
serve.
so yeah, so it seems that his son has caused a scuffle at the Iceberg Lounge. There was a big
Yep.
riot that broke out, and Barbara shows up, and her dad's there, being all commissioner, and he's like, it's a cut and dry case. There was a riot, blah 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 blah. dealing with
I
it."
love that he goes, why are you even here? This happens all the time. So often that one of the officers is dating the bartender.
And then he
because they
shouts
just
out,
meet this much.
"Hey, stop flirting with a whatever."
Yeah.
And, yeah. So there's funny stuff, but she's like, "No, but it originated in 3 points," and it goes into detail this guy found out someone was cheating on him, and I can't remember them. I'm not going to look at them up. They're all kind of funny. One was like when some guy sold the other guy's dog on a.
Yeah, he thought the dog
On
ran
eBay.
away, but the roommate had sold it on their version of Craigslist.
Greg's List.
Greg's list.
Greg-
Yeah.
But it was like this is these three random things, but you kind of got this is all app stuff. Like he's put stuff in the apps to let them all know based on messages or whatever.
Dangers of social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is all this thing, and then this dick sends an intern to break up with Barbara, just as she's thinking about breaking up with him, because obviously she knows he's into dodgy stuff now. She's like,
Right.
right, but she's
She's a
hurt
cobblepot.
that she's broken up with an intern. So much so she punches a random guy who tries to buy her a drink, which was deeply amusing.
Fair enough. That dude was being a vulture. Like,
Yeah. He wants to get dumped and go,
Yeah.
here's my chance. It goes to hit
Yeah.
on her. Yeah, you deserve the smack in the face.
Yep.
Yeah. So she gets upset. She texts Dick. Dick comes round, picks her up on the bike, and they have some banter, which is great. But so I love that while they're talking, some other guy's got a phone out, and the image of it beams up to satellite. And I like this kind of thing because it just, even though we know how all this works, it was just following the trail from this event to him, to know that he is definitely doing all this, and to show you his type of... Because I think this is the first time we really get his true colours, is when he's watching them, and he says bitch. He's upset because the girl he dumped via intern is talking to a man.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
He's not my kind of dude. Like, I thought he was kind of cool. We see them on their first date. They're doing that, escape room with Two-Face. And you're like, oh, yeah, he's not his dad's kid. No, he's definitely his dad's kid here.
Yes. So, this is all thing. He tries to have her run over. Or, no, he doesn't try to have her run over. He tries to scare her by having what it looks like almost a car accident next to her. Which, by the way, I like that she jumps to action and protects her two friends. It's like they're just confuddled by what's going on, and she's like, action girl immediately because she's Batgirl. Again, fun stuff in there. I think her annoyed faces. It's different because I always talk about this with Supergirl's comic, where I really like how the art in that does all her expressions. I feel like this does this expressions really good as well, but it does it in a slightly different way. It's a lot more muted, but I can still see it. Yeah. It's less cartoony, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think in terms of the art, my biggest problem is Penguin's nose seems overly large, even for Penguin.
But I think that's just whoever draws the Penguin. They want to put their own.
It just bothers me when it's that size.
Yeah. Well, this is definitely more DeVito Penguin than other Penguin, because sometimes they also draw him super, super pale, like he's never seen the sun. So
honestly, I think they should bring in the broken glass bottle monocle from the Arkham games. I think that would just set it up nicely. Oh yes, it's good. No, so she actually it establishes Barbara's still. What does she call it again? Let me just check the name of it here. The hyper thing, hyper focus. That's what she calls it. Where she goes into this sort of trance and does all her work at this in a meditative state, and she figures things out. Which, I mean, it was just her figuring out exposition basically, but I like that they've established she still can do this. This is something she can still do when she's needing to work on stuff. So basically, the end of this issue is we find out what we get a villain name for Cobblebot's son. We get Blackson with a U, not an O.
Which I think is kind of lame. You could have come up with anything. You go with Black Sun.
Yeah. I'll say this. I like his monocle that has a hologram coming out. It's like a little projector.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And has a hologram. I like that. I like his look. I don't know what Black Sun... Surely something bird-themed would have been a...
Yeah. I hope the Penguin laughs at him for this at the beginning of the go. Really, a code name? I didn't give myself Penguin. Well, yeah, I want him to go, I didn't name myself Penguin. I earned that name. You don't go around giving yourself a name. I just want him to do that and just really show, because he tells him here, you might be my spawn, but you're not my son. And I like how that would drive that home.
Yeah, it basically shows up to a takeover. This is a takeover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's his thing. So I do like the possibility that Penguin will want Batgirl to beat him like that. There's always something about the villain wanting the other villain to go down, so they actually start rooting for the hero. I can almost see that happening here with Batgirl and Penguin. But it's another good issue, I thought.
I thought, and you mentioned how they reminded us of the hyper focus.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to come up again. I don't know if it'll be next arc or the one after, but I'm putting around that sort of range where they show, just obviously they're closing the name hyper focus, nothing else. So she's not aware of anything else when she's in that.
Right.
And something's going to happen around her, and someone's going to use that to their advantage.
Yeah, possibly. I can see it.
Yeah. Also, I thought it was interesting that this one got really topical and political, where it talked about controlling the media and using that to their advantage, establishing the story to their own gains.
Yeah, I think that's something we're just going to see more and more of, and that's felt natural. It worked into what the plot's been doing the entire time. He's that type of villain, so that worked for me. I will say the cover's a little bit misleading because it shows you her leaping over Commissioner Gordon while he's firing a gun, as if they're going to be in an action scene together, and they have one conversation. and that's it.
Yeah, but it is a pretty good cover.
It's a good
Oh,
cover.
it is. It's a good cover.
So was the variant by Albuquerque that I couldn't get a hold of because my shop was out of them. Not Albuquerque, Manipul. Where's my brain going?
There you go.
But there you go.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah. Nah, it was good stuff. I think the plot, because I've been enjoying this arc, but I feel like this is where the plots finally came together, and I understand what it is, and I'm liking pretty much everything it's doing, other than the name for Penguin's son, Black Sun. I'm not sure what that's about, but other than that.
Yeah, that's one of those things where I don't really like it, but it doesn't really matter in the
Nah,
long run.
you'll just get used to it, and ultimately, does it matter if his name sucks? Not as long as he's an interesting villain in terms of what he's doing for the hero. Exactly. It doesn't really matter. So.
I do like that they did give him the monocle though. Like that's
hologram monocle. This is important.
Yes.
Little projector that shoots out a hologram that he can do stuff with.
Yeah.
He's a tech guy.